Knee mount is a really interesting position. It doesn't really have much of an analog in other competitive grappling arts like judo or sambo or freestyle wrestling, but you do see it in old jiu-jitsu manuals. So maybe those guys way back then knew something that we don't today. But Brazilian jiu-jitsu uses it a fair bit. It's a double-edged sword. I'm going to be fairly high here. My center of gravity is higher and is less stable than the other pinning positions where I've got a lot of body-to-body contact. On the other hand, I'm putting a ton of pressure onto him. It's hard for him to breathe, and maybe he'll do something stupid and give me the submission. So that's typically how it's used, to put pressure on your opponent, to make him do something stupid, or as a transition to another position like mount. It's also worth noting that from a self-defense point of view, this is a really good position. If I'm here, I'm pinning him, I'm controlling his arm so he can't hit me in the groin, I'm making his life miserable, and I see 3 of his friends coming, I can disengage and run away pretty fast. Whereas if I went to another position that might even be better, like, I don't know, let's say rear mount here. I'm here, I'm in rear mount, I've almost got the choke, I've almost got him unconscious, and 3 of his friends come, and now he drives his weight back on top of me. It could take me a couple of seconds to disengage from here. You know, it would be an added step before I could bolt and run. So from a self-defense point of view, I think knee mount is really useful. Also, from an MMA point of view, this is probably the most powerful way that you can hit your opponent. Even more powerful than in mount, which we'll get to in a second. You can really drop a ton of weight down because you're so upright. So it's a very powerful position for putting weight onto your opponent and for hitting, and useful in a self-defense context too. So now you've got to knee mount. Let's say you're not actually hitting him. You want to use this as a transition. The most common transition really from here is you put the knee on him, this hurts, he moves around, and I slide to mount. What I want to be careful of here is being sloppy on my slide. If I just let my foot come across here, he's going to catch it in his half guard every time. So as I come, I want to bring my heel up to my butt and then slap it down here. It might look something like this. Here, I'm pretending to go for the choke. I didn't let my foot get anywhere near his legs for him to entangle me with it. Another transition, and it's not one that you really want, but it happens all the time, so you might as well be prepared for it, is if I'm here, he often turns into me, and I fall down back into side mount. It's not so bad, I haven't lost top position, but if you're in knee mount, you just have to be prepared to come back down to side mount at any point. A final transition I want to talk about, and it's not as fancy as it appears, is we're here. For some reason I decide I want to be on this side. I'm going to put my hands on the ground and I'm going to pop across here. Again, watch how high this foot comes. I'm not sloppy in it. I don't want him to catch that foot. We're there. So you can practice going back and forth, and that's useful to adjust to his movements as he's moving around when you have him pinned.